So you see there the before and after of the lander configuration. So we had the image there on the left that we carried. That was our initial configuration we had at SDR for ILDD, and we had carried it for quite a while, knowing that it was probably not very accurate. So we finally have updated, or in the process of still updating lander configurations you see there on the right. If you go to the next slide, we've got a few details about that. And so biggest thing, we've gone from the monoprop approach to a biprop propulsion system that based on PWR and dynetics and trait studies on a propulsion system. Changing that, you no longer have the big beach ball tank in the center that we were using as our primary structural support. So we've had to add several support members to the configuration. And we've also increased the ground clearance for the thrusters. Those initial thrusters were just a few inches off the ground, and we've more than doubled that now. Still working. It's certainly not a final configuration. We don't have a rover stow and deploy system on the current configuration. That's something else we're still looking at. The best way to do that. And components are not placed with a lot of detail. We haven't talked to Draper about thruster placement and nav cameras, things like that. So it's still our conceptual configuration model. Just the overall same size as the original was.
And I believe, is there any more slides on that? So,
go to that now. Yeah, so with that, it's one of the big drivers of getting the configuration updated this time period was because of the engineering development lander that we want to build at HCT, and we wanted them to build something that would be somewhat more realistic than what we knew that monoprop system would be. And so we've got the students started working on that as school was just recently back in session here. And Mike Satullo at Teledyne is leading that group. And they've met a couple of times, I believe. So Mike, you want to talk about what you're doing with those guys?
Yeah, we had a kickoff meeting last Thursday. We're going to meet regularly most every Thursday, 1:30 for an hour. That's the time slot that design students have slated with Mike Evans. Good group. They've got a natural leader that has just kind of evolved into their team lead. According to Mike, he's putting a lot of energy into getting organized and planning the work activities, trying to break this thing down into make sure that the student group, I don't have any females this year, unfortunately. I don't know why that happened that way. All a bunch of guys, but we're going to try to have them look at the entire life cycle, from following the concept as it evolves to creating design drawings to working with their internal shop, considering elements of procurement, doing configuration management. So we're going to touch on some fields that are common to us and what we do in our business, and introduce it to them and why it's important to consider things as seemingly trivial as configuration management. Today, meeting number 2, I'm going to, after having discussed with Ray and Ricky, I'm going to task them with going ahead and designing the modeling technique and the development technique for the upper ring light band assembly, and all the tanks, all the propulsion components and elements, but not the main structural body, brackets and details like that. Me and Ricky have got to continue to evolve the design and also consider how we want to direct the students to construct it from a material standpoint. So we end up with a safe structure and one that will withstand, several setup, tear downs,